At 9:30 a.m. Eastern, Americans stopped to remember the women and children lost a week ago to a mass murderer's bullets. Not long after that, the man who made sure that the shooter was equipped with the tools of mass murder made a speech in Washington that did not include a single word of apology. There is no chance that Wayne LaPierre will choose to say what is best for the country or our children.
Since when did the gun become a bad word?
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun
is a good guy with a gun.
Is a good guy with a gun.
It's the good guys against the bad guys, and everyone should have a gun.
I don't even know where to begin.
The NRA embarrassed itself.
Very haunting and very disturbing.
Basically, we are all targets.
Our society is populated by an unknown number of genuine monsters.
And we need to have a gun on us at all times.
I call on Congress today to put armed police officers in every single school in this nation.
What does that say about us?
The media called me crazy.
These guys are nuts.
The media called me crazy.
This guy is whacked.
He trolled the press corps. This was not a press conference. That was a commercial.
More of a commercial.
He didn't even take questions.
The most bizarre press briefings that I've ever witnessed.
Since when did the gun become a bad word?
Wayne LaPierre, blame the media, video games.
Violent video games.
We are not the only culture that has video games.
But since when did the gun become a bad word, bad word, bad word, bad word?
At 11:02 a.m. Eastern Time today, the world stopped to listen to this man. Well, okay, the world didn't stop, but Washington certainly stopped to listen, and all the cable news networks stopped what they were doing to cover every word of what he had to say. And here is how he began.
The National Rifle Association, 4 million mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, joined the nation in...
Wait a minute. 4 million people? In a country of 300 million people, a guy who represents 4 million people gets every camera in Washington, and he doesn't really represent them. He just tricks them out of some dues money with non-stop lies. Most of those 4 million people disagree with him about a lot of stuff. When is the last time this guy got every camera in Washington and live coverage from all cable news networks for something he had to say? He is the CEO of the AARP, which has 40 million members, 10 times the size of the NRA. And the AARP members have more to worry about in the budget negotiations going on in Washington this week than the NRA members have ever had to worry about. But if Barry Rand steps up to a microphone to say something about it, I guarantee you no network is going to go live with that. And if this guy, who was actually elected to represent 12 million members of the AFL-CIO, steps up to a microphone today, no one will go live to him either. And so what did this man have to say today? This man who got all this attention, this man who is the CEO of a $200 million business that plays with the dues money of 4 million people, most of whom disagree with this man on some of the issues he cares about most.
Now we must speak for the safety of our nation's children. Nobody has addressed the most important, pressing, and immediate question we face. How do we protect our children right now, starting today, in a way that we know works?
And then he suggested something that you cannot do right now, starting today. Put a police officer in every school in America. That would require hiring at least 132,183 new police officers. Now, just based on the median salary for police officers in America, that would cost $6.7 billion a year. There isn't a town or city or state in America that has extra money lying around today to hire extra police officers. If $6.7 billion had to be raised from new taxes, then of course Grover Norquist would use all of his powers to oppose those taxes. Grover Norquist, who is, of course, a member of the board of the National Rifle Association. So the CEO of the NRA took to a microphone in Washington today to suggest a solution to the massacres of children in our schools. And the solution is something he and his friends would not be willing to pay for. And he and his friends would attack any politician who attempted to pay for it. He reached for a variety of ways to make his point.
We care about our money, so we protect our banks with armed guards.
I don't know about you, but I cannot remember the last time I was in a bank that had an armed guard. All banks had them when I was a kid, and the armed guards couldn't stop bank robberies then. What stopped bank robberies in America was not armed guards. It was video cameras and automatic locking safes that cannot be opened no matter how much you scare a bank teller with your little gun. And I'm not just talking about small town banks that I go into. New York City banks do not have armed guards anymore. He went on to cite an 18-year-old movie and a 12-year-old movie that were not exactly blockbusters at the box office as the reasons why children are being shot and killed in an elementary school last week. He talked about people in the movie business and stockholders of entertainment companies as, quote, complicit co-conspirators in the mass murder of children at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Here is the lobbyist for mass murderers, the only lobbyist that mass murderers have, calling actors, actresses, people whose pensions might be invested in mutual funds, quote, complicit co-conspirators in these murders. And then there was this.
The media calls semi-automatic firearms machine guns. They claim these civilian semi-automatic firearms are used by the military. They tell us that the .223 round is one of the most powerful rifle calibers. When all of these claims are factually untrue, they don't know what they're talking about.
That was aimed directly at the NRA membership, directly at the people whose dues allow him to take home $1 million a year. Most of those people know more about guns than most reporters do. He believes that if he can show one reporter using language about firearms that isn't strictly technically accurate, then he can discount to his membership everything that the American news media might say about guns. He wants to show NRA members a flash of his pretend ballistics expertise by making fun of the idea that the .223 round is one of the most powerful rifle calibers. Now, sure, there are bigger bullets than the .223, but every .223 fired in Sandy Hook Elementary came out of the barrel of that assault rifle at 3 times the speed of sound, 3,200 feet per second. Is there really something to quibble about in how powerful a bullet is when it is heading toward a 6-year-old at the speed of 3,200 feet per second? What kind of desperate, cornered rat would dare to mention that the Sandy Hook shooter could have used a more powerful bullet? Could have what? Done more damage? Could have what? Made the bodies of 6-year-olds even more difficult to identify? So today, the NRA announced that it has a solution, complete solution, to gun violence in America, mass murders in America. Their solution is the National School Shield Program, a police officer with a gun in every school. Now, he didn't announce a National Movie Theater Shield program with a police officer in every movie theater in America. Wayne LaPierre has, in fact, never spoken one word about 6-year-old Veronica Moser Sullivan, who was murdered in that movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, along with 11 other people, and 58 wounded. 58. All of that death and savagery was delivered from an ammunition delivery system so big it isn't called a magazine, it's called a drum. It holds 100 rounds. Wayne LaPierre is the lobbyist who made it possible for the mass murderer in the Aurora, Colorado movie theater to be able to shoot and kill and wound so many people without reloading even once. The law Senator Dianne Feinstein pushed through Congress in 1994 made large-capacity ammunition delivery systems illegal. Wayne LaPierre made them legal again 10 years later. Wayne LaPierre made no public statement whatsoever after the movie theater mass murder. After that mass murderer so successfully used the weapon systems that Wayne LaPierre made available to him. Instead, Wayne LaPierre simply sent out a letter asking for money, asking for contributions to the NRA over and above dues. And as with every solicitation of money Wayne LaPierre has ever made, he lied to every poor fool who fell for it. He said in his letter asking for money, quote, "Nothing less than the future of our country and our freedom will be at stake." Wayne LaPierre did not announce today a national shopping mall parking lot shield program because Wayne LaPierre has no suggestion about how to prevent or even in some way inhibit, maybe just somehow reduce the possibility of what happened to 9-year-old Christina Taylor Greene, who was murdered because she chose to stand in a parking lot in Tucson, Arizona, and listen to her Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Wayne LaPierre is all for having a police officer protect 9-year-old girls in school, but anywhere else a 9-year-old goes in America, a movie theater, shopping mall, she's on her own. And we now know she's on her own against the best equipped mass murderers in the history of the human race. That's right. We're number one. USA, USA, we're number one. No country in the world has better equipped mass murderers than the United States of America, and that is thanks to the lifetime work of Wayne LaPierre. Every day since 1977, Wayne LaPierre has been making sure that madmen in America can fire any gun they want and any bullet they want at any children they want, at any teachers, at police officers, at the president. The solution Wayne LaPierre suggested today to stop school shootings has already been tried in many places across America, including Columbine High School, where 13 years ago, 12 students and 1 teacher were shot dead. Columbine High School had an armed sheriff's deputy at the school that day and every day prior to that. But when the moment came, the deputy could do nothing to stop the mass murderers. There was a good guy with a gun in the parking lot in Tucson when the madman there opened fire on Gabby Giffords and the men and women and children in that parking lot. But the good guy with the gun could do nothing to stop what was happening because he realized he could not get off a clean shot, a shot that he could be sure wouldn't kill one of the innocent bystanders. Stuck in the middle of Wayne LaPierre's speech today was his bottom line. He said that gun and ammunition control advocates, quote, perpetuate the dangerous notion that one more gun ban or one more law imposed on peaceable, lawful people will protect us. So there's Wayne LaPierre saying that he is opposed to any more laws. Not one more law. Not a law banning the 100-round ammunition drum that was used in the Colorado movie theater. Not a law banning the 30-round ammunition magazines used in Sandy Hook Elementary. Not a law banning assault weapons. Not a law tightening access to ammunition. Not any kind of law that would make it in any way even slightly more difficult for a madman to obtain the very best tools in the world for up-close mass murder. Not one more law. It is now impossible to count how many people Wayne LaPierre owes an apology to. There are all those who've been killed by weapons that became available after he made sure the assault weapons ban would not be renewed. There are the parents of the dead, the brothers and sisters of the dead, the children of the dead. And then there are millions, truly millions and millions more. Because in his most vile fundraising letter, before the last presidential election, Wayne LaPierre actually said this about what would happen if Barack Obama was reelected President of the United States. Quote, "The night of November 6th, 2012, you and I will lose more on the election battlefield than our nation has lost in any battle, any time, anywhere." There's Wayne LaPierre claiming on election night that he, who of course avoided service in the war of his era, the Vietnam War, that he lost more on election night this year than, quote, on any battlefield in the history of our nation. Wayne LaPierre lost more on election night than 1.3 million Americans who have lost their lives in war. He lost more than the relatives and the descendants of those 1.3 million Americans. He lost more than all the amputees, double amputees, brain-damaged amputees that our wars have produced. How could Wayne LaPierre ever find the words to deliver an adequate apology for that filthy insult to the American war dead and to those of us who have lost loved ones in war, those of us who have lost loved ones in the war that Wayne LaPierre personally avoided service in? Of course, there are no words. No words. And the apology will never come. And we can now see through that psychotically self-centered statement that Wayne LaPierre made, quote, "I will lose more on the election battlefield than our nation has lost in any battle, any time, anywhere." We now see that the mind that could shape that sentence is almost as twisted, almost as damaged as the minds of the mass murderers Wayne LaPierre keeps supplied so well in America.